American civilians love the AR-15. No wonder, it looks like the M16, the primary weapon of US soldiers for half a century. But misplaced confidence in this civilian gimmick gun can get you killed. You see, millions of folks did not buy this rifle because it is the best tool for their needs. No, they purchased their ARs because they fantasize about being soldiers themselves. For the soldier wannabe, the AR-15 is the perfect costume prop. It even shoots real army bullets. This video exposes the truth about the AR-15 and reveals the telltale clues of the soldier wannabe. To find out if you're a wannabe, keep score as you watch. There are 5 main categories where soldier wannabes reveal themselves. But before all that, here's your first wannabe clue. If you have ever posed in the bathroom mirror with your AR-15, there's a good chance you're a soldier wannabe. Let's look at why the military went with the M16 in the first place. The rifle is constructed of plastic and stamped metal parts. This makes it cheap and mass producible, essential if you are equipping an entire army. Of course, civilians never see this benefit. In fact, gun manufacturers rake in their biggest profits from wannabes so desperate to feel like real soldiers that they gladly pay top dollar for ARs. Second, the military wanted a weapon that was optimized for automatic suppressive fire. This high ammo use strategy was deemed critical for post-World War II infantry squad maneuvers and for pinning enemies in place so artillery or air support could destroy them. If you've never practiced live fire squad maneuvers and you don't have access to artillery or air support, score yourself a wannabe point. The military went with tiny lightweight .22 caliber bullets. It was a difficult decision, but their big advantage was they offered controllable fire in automatic mode. Since the auto fire capability has been completely neutered on the semi-automatic AR-15, civilians never see this controllability benefit. If you've never fired a rifle in true automatic mode, score yourself a wannabe point. Automatic suppressive fire burns through ammunition, and that's another reason why the military demanded the whole weapon system be lightweight. It allowed foot soldiers to carry more rounds over long distances. Now, if you've never carried your AR in a full combat load 9 miles in one day, score another wannabe point. These choices meant they had to sacrifice long-range lethality to get that short-range automatic suppressive fire, so the M16 was only required to be effective out to 400 meters. If you haven't engaged targets at 400 meters with your AR, score another wannabe point. The military has since learned that M16 rounds are really only reliably lethal out to 200 meters. Beyond that range, they lose too much velocity and don't consistently yaw and fragment when they hit. This is the big gimmick the 5.56 round relies on. Said another way, when an AR-15 bullet slows to less than 2,500 feet per second, its wounding capability drops to about that of a .22 caliber plinking rifle. More on this problem later. There is a horrifying real-world example of the AR's non-lethality. The cowardly 2017 Las Vegas mass shooter hit 480 people with bullets fired at long range from an AR. Fortunately, 422 of those good folks survived. Looked at through the cold lens of combat effectiveness though, that means, thank God, his AR was only lethal for 12% of targets hit. Would you trust a safety rope that failed 88% of the time? Maybe you've convinced yourself that the AR is a great hunting rifle. If so, score yourself a wannabe point. Before the recent AR-15 fanboy craze, its cartridges were always correctly considered to be varmint rounds. If you've got a real varmint problem, okay, you can subtract one wannabe point, but only if you paid less than $500 for your AR. Still, clever marketers are now trying to sell magical deer hunting cartridges for AR-15s. Take a look at their fine print though. You'll see these miracle rounds shouldn't be used past 100 yards. At least the marketers are not yet brazen enough to claim AR rounds can take down elk, bear, and moose. If you've convinced yourself that an AR-15 is a great home defense gun, rack up another point. The home defense scenario calls into play none of the AR-15 strengths. Its lightweight is meaningless if the farthest you have to carry it is a couple of yards down the hall. Its 30-round magazine is ridiculous, considering the average number of rounds fired in successful civilian self-defense incidents is 2, and the most common number of shots fired is 1. Its 200-meter effective range becomes a joke when you remember civilian self-defense shooting incidents almost universally occur at 4 to 12 feet. By the way, shooting someone at 200 meters is not self-defense. That's murder. And according to the military, there's more bad news for the AR at short ranges. 85% of 5.56 bullets don't do their yaw and fragment gimmick until traveling almost 5 inches through the target's body. In the field, this means they can pass right through enemies without mortally wounding them, even when the bullet is flying at full speed. Army reports are littered with stories of our own soldiers easily surviving close-range friendly fire hits from 5.56 bullets. It takes a wannabe to trust a gimmick gun for his home defense. If you've convinced yourself that the AR-15 is a great gun for preppers, score yourself another point. It's not a great hunting tool or a home defense tool. It's not reliably lethal at over 200 meters, and it can't be concealed. Just what is a serious prepper gonna do with a gun as limited as that? If you said, assault an enemy, score another point. First, a rational prepper would work very hard to avoid anything so stupid and dangerous. Second, why are you making enemies when you should be building alliances? The biggest problem with the AR as a prepper gun is simple logic. By definition, an SHTF situation is a resource-constrained scenario. The whole idea behind the AR is high resource use suppressive fire. It is a gun built to burn through ammo. That's the opposite of what you want. The smartest SHTF strategy would involve tactics and weapons that use small amounts of ammo. Finally, we come to the AR-15 militia boys, the biggest fools of the bunch. If you plan to use your AR-15 to fight all enemies, foreign and domestic, score yourself a big wannabe point. The first problem with choosing an AR for militia action is that you're trying to play an automatic fire game with a semi-automatic gun. In addition to auto-fire rifles, grenades, and heavy weapons, all modern armies also carry belt-fed machine guns. If you've never maneuvered under direct automatic fire, score another point. I know not many civilians get a chance to do this, so here's a quick alternative test. If you've ever lost your shit when a bee comes near, there is no way you will keep it together under suppressive machine gun fire. But the number one reason why only a wannabe would choose an AR-15 as a militia weapon is level 4 body armor. It is specifically designed to stop 5.56 rounds, and it is standard issue for all modern armies. It takes a profoundly ignorant fool to choose a weapon that can't even penetrate the armor of his enemy. If you believe you are the chosen one that can defeat level 4 body armor with your AR-15, score another wannabe point. Even the US Army is not that dumb. They are ditching the 5.56 round and the AR-15 platform. That's right, the military is done with the gimmicks, the problems, and the lack of real power. I will let the top brass explain. The 5.56 round simply does not have the mass to penetrate the body armor worn by the enemy. The American soldier needs a weapon that is effective against protected targets, and they also have to have a deadly effect at long ranges. I'm not gonna ask what your wannabe score is. The truth is, there's nothing wrong with dreaming about being a real soldier. So if you have the balls to admit you bought your AR-15 for fantasy fulfillment reasons, you have my respect. But if you still insist you bought this gimmick gun for some kind of serious purpose, all I can say is that if things ever get really real, your wannabe obsession with this neutered and obsolete costume prop is very likely to get you killed.